Hey, welcome back to the channel. So we have here in front of us patch 3.2.3 details, and I did record this earlier, but I forgot to turn on my mic, so I need to re-record this. So with that, I lost my surprise factor when I first read this, but the good thing is that I already analyzed everything, so this re-recording will contain only the summary of everything that is important. So apparently Yuhime Izanami is not what we expect her to be. Like, I wanted the legendary version of the twins, but apparently Yuhime is the legendary version of Luoyan because her third skill on the second hit, she can reduce a certain percentage of enemy maximum HP before dealing damage. So this is really great because Luoyan currently the only counter to this max HP reduction is only Ahmed. So there is no way for the enemy to counter this as long as you can avoid fighting an Ahmed. And this is really good when you are on the offensive side, but not really well when you are on the defensive side, because the enemy can just bring Ahmed and this will be useless. So, and the other one is Ain. We're gonna go to her a little bit after this. So the way Yuhime play here is that she plays around with Hell's Hand. So this Hell's Hand is a unique buff to her. It extends all Yuhime's buffs at the start of her turn and is stackable with a limit. So this limit, when she uses her third ability, she gains a certain number of Hell's Hand stacks based on the total number of enemy debuffs. So because this is an AoE attack, so the system probably count the total of 5 enemy debuffs, so it can go up to 15 debuffs if you hit the enemy with Ife before Yuhime make her move, because Ife will give 3 debuffs per enemy, so the total will be 15 debuffs. But I don't think this can stack up to 15 because her second ability, it will inflict damage, inflicts defense down, quite alright. When having Hell's Hand deals extra damage based on attack, we won't know how good this is unless we see the percentage damage value, and it costs 1 Hell's Hand stack. And the first skill, it gains immunity, but when having Hell's Hand deals extra damage at the cost of all Hell's Hand stacks. So do take note that if she uses her first ability, all her Hell's Hand stack is going to be gone. So no matter how many stacks she has with this, on the third turn, she will lose all of her Hell's Hand stack because she will use her third skill and then second skill, and after that she has no choice but to use her first ability. So this will only last for 3 turns unless the enemy stun you. But I don't think you can play around with the expectation that the enemy will stun you right on your before your third turn. So it's not something that you can control. So these stacks, probably, like, at most I expect this to probably only have like 5 stacks, maybe. So the thing is that is enough. That is enough, because whenever she uses her first skill, she will lose all Hell's Hand stacks. So that is quite, like, 5 stacks is alright. So this Hell's Hand stack is really good for her because it extends her buffs at the start of her turn. So the way you can play with this is that instead of giving her buff before she moves, she needs to actually move first because the buff will be extended at the start of her turn when she has her Hell's Hand. So here's the thing. If she has invincibility before she moves and use her third skill, that means that at the start of her turn she doesn't have her Hell's Hand yet, and the invincibility is already working there. And at the end of her turn, after she uses her third ability, the health hand, she will get her health hand, but then it won't trigger this buff extension. So at the end of her turn, she will lose that invincibility buff. But to get around that, you then just need Yuhime to move first, use her third ability, get that health hand buff first, and then you can give her invincibility afterwards. So on the second turn, she will use her second ability, Hell's Hand, but before she uses that ability at the start of her turn, she will increase that invincibility buff duration to 2 turns, and after she uses her second ability, the invincibility buff will go down to 1 duration again. So that's how you actually play around with this Hell's Hand. This is going to be really good. So that means that after she uses her second ability, then on the next turn she will have her invincibility again, and then it will get increased by 1 turn again, and then she will use her first ability, remove all of her Hell's Hand stacks, and only then afterwards on the next turn again she will lose her invincibility buffs. So she can potentially hold her invincibility buffs for 4 turns. That is already really good enough for her. And if you can give her immunity at the same time, that is insane. She is untouchable for 4 turns. So the first turn she will use her Hell's Hand, get invincibility, increase by 1 turn. She uses her second ability, that is the first turn. And then after that, that is the second turn. And then after that, she will use her first ability, but then she still has her invincibility, and only afterwards on the next turn she will lose her invincibility. So yeah, ranging like 3.5 turn there. Yeah. So that's how you play around with her Hell's Hand. But other than that, her biggest advantage is this: reduce a certain percentage of enemies' maximum HP. And this thing is huge because this can go up to 50% maximum HP reduction. And for those of you who already use Luoyang in PvP, you all know how good that is. So Luoyang currently is kind of like more into a defensive position, because aside from cutting the enemy's maximum HP, his only other purpose is to just prevent his teammates' death. But for Yuhime, she is more on the offensive side, because aside from cutting the enemy's maximum HP, she also deals AoE damage on both her second ability and third ability, and also she inflicts defense down, AoE defense down here. So she most likely can be able to deal like quite a lot of AoE damage. But then again, it all depends on the percentage number of how much this thing damage actually is. But I expect that if it costs a Hell's Hand stack, that means this extra damage is gonna help to increase this damage above average number at least. So her resonance on the first one increase the Beyond the Grave final damage, that is standard. The second resonance, the Death Gate, which is the second ability, has a chance of dealing extra damage based on attack at the cost of 1 Hell's Hand stack. So I don't know if this is like another effect, or this is just a typo where this is supposed to be like only there if you already have her on resonance too. But then again, if these do become a new effect, that means that she has a chance to, not a chance, but on her second ability, she will reduce her Hell's Hand stack by 2. So yeah, we need clarification to that. But then again, it is a bad thing to lose your Hell's Hand stack unless the damage is really significant in increasing that extra damage. So And yeah, like because of these health hand stacks, like you don't want her to play around with Avatara because the moment she counter attack, all her health hand stacks will be gone. That is really a bad thing. And then on Resonance 4, when at an elemental advantage, damage plus 15%, this is quite alright. But on the Resonance 6, Nether Jewel, which is the first ability, has a chance of not consuming Hell's Hand while dealing extra damage. So this is good. Potentially, if you can have her on Resonance 6, so for example, I assume this text goes up to 5, that means that if you can win the gamble here and avoid losing all of your Hell's Hand stacks, that means that she can have her invincibility for a longer duration, which is insane. Like, she is untouchable. You can just build her totally glass cannon and just get lucky and get that permanent invincibility and immunity for like a really long time, depending on how many stacks you can get here with the limit of in here. So we do need to look at her in game later on in the PTR version. But then again, she is quite alright. Like I do count her as quite balanced. Like nothing really game breaking. Her kit is really unique. But then again, you do need a lot of work in order to make this work. So, and also she doesn't really have something that, like, you know, really helps in you clearing like ritual or any other PvE content. Like, she is just a standard Esper, which is like, you know, doesn't really specialize in anywhere, kind of. Like I do get more interested in using her in PvP, but then in PvE, yeah, not really a ritual miracle kind of material. Looking at these skills, like the defense down, like you have a lot of alternatives. The disease, you also have a lot of alternatives. You don't necessarily need to bring her. Like this is an inferno, so the most likely scenario is APEP. So nothing here to help her in killing APEP. Other than probably clearing the first wave and second wave faster, but then again, we already have Espers that do specialize in killing APEP, which is Embla, and all the other Espers like Brewster and then Kaguya. Yeah, all those Espers are much better than Yuhime, but we will see. So the next Esper is Ain. And I still don't know what god this is. I haven't do my research, but her first ability deals damage to one enemy 2 times based on attack. Its hit has a chance of inflicting critical rate down, which is really good. Like from the Leora update, we do know that now we have a new debuff, which is crit rate down. And I've been saying that, you know, critical resist is a very important buff, which only Laura and Ethan have. But now we have the debuff version of that. So this is going to be really useful when dealing with people who are stacking Thor Rally. So second ability gains standoff to herself, so Ain will get standoff, grants shield to Ain's teammates excluding Ain, so everybody else will get shield, and shield strength is based on Ain's maximum HP. Usually I will expect this to be like the same number as Berenice, but because of the number in Yuday's skill, I cannot assume anymore on this the number of maximum HP in here, because Yuday gives 100% of her teammates HP, which is insane. So this one, I don't want to assume the number anymore. We will see when the actual in-game description come out. So ability 3 Maker Strike deals damage to one enemy 3 times based on attack and maximum HP. Each hit has a chance of inflicting defense down, multi-hit defense down, which is kind of like a guaranteed defense down. then calls in one random teammate to assist. This I do want to point out that because this is similar to Alice. Alice also can call her friends to assist, but her skill is on her first ability. So this, because this is on the third ability, I do wish that this is a much better version than what Alice can do. So hopefully this has a higher chance of calling teammates to assist, or better yet, to have 100% chance of calling teammates to assist, because this is the third skill. It won't be how to say, surprising if this has like 100% chance to trigger. But then again, we will only know when the actual in-game description come out. So the resonance here, the second resonance when attacked with a critical hit damage minus 12%, resonance 4 when incapacitated damage taken minus 18%, so she can potentially be tanky, quite tanky. And her resonance 6 change the force barrier, which is the second ability, granting shield change to granting Ang's Blessing, and Ang's Blessing provides shield and increase resist. This is huge. I want to emphasize on this. This is huge because Ang's Blessing is a unique buff. That means that this Ang's Blessing will stack on top of a normal shield buff. So if you pair this aid with someone like Abigail, you will have insane amount of shield. And the best part about shield is that in PvP, when the heal reach like 0 heal, when the game is long enough to reach a 0 heal, shield will always still provide the same number. So if you have the shield together with the normal shield buff, and then if you also bring like someone like Odette, you have 3 kinds of shields stacking on top of one another. And also this shield increase resist, so there is a chance that you can resist the enemy dispel that want to remove your shield. So this is insane. This Ang's Blessing is a really strong buff. So I do want to emphasize that this is this can stack, you know. So this Esper can currently only be acquired in the event shop while Sea of Sorrow is running. But the thing is that we don't know, we didn't see any of the picture from the event shop in the previous like event version preview. So we don't know whether we can get her to Resonance 6, because that's what Lilith been generous to us all this previous like recent update. But then again, this is OP. This is OP. Yeah. So I do hope we can get a free Resonance 6 again, but that is just hoping too much. So we will see. Okay. So another one that I want to point out to you, that I was hoping that the Flaming Echo will give us like 6 legendary Espers from my live stream, but apparently reading it from here, it looks like that we can only get 1 legendary Esper. So the way it works is that we will acquire rotary coins by doing certain things in game, and the rotary coins can be used to draw Espers from the non-shimmer legendary Esper options. So this most likely gonna be probably random, like you will pull a random 6 legendary Espers, and then after you spend like 50 golden records, then you can choose 1 legendary Esper among those 6 options. So that's the most likely scenario that probably gonna happen, because we saw the picture in the version preview that the number of echo that they do track is 50/50. So we probably only have a chance to do this. So yeah, aside from that, you can just read out the rest, and that's all from me. And thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.